Welcome to OverTime, the podcast. OverTime is a podcast dedicated to all things watches, particularly in the micro-brand and affordable range. I'm Praka, and this is my co-host, Justin.
We are two watch enthusiasts based out of Perth, Western Australia. Join us as we discuss our thoughts on new releases, share our personal experiences, and offer our insights on building a collection.
Whether you're a seasoned enthusiast or just starting your journey, OverTime will keep you entertained with informative insights and casual conversations.
Let's get started.
So Justin, how you going, mate?
Hey man, I am good. Survived the superstorm, in quotations, the news was calling it today.
Yeah.
Got a first-hand vision of it myself, being kind of caught up in it down south. But apart from that, yeah, good day.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm always skeptical when I, see all these news sort of stories about great storms and stuff like that. But then I had a look at the radar, and then I was like, oh no, this is big. This isn't some non-story. They're just trying to hype up. I'm like, this is huge. So yeah, I went out and did my best to put everything in the shed and move stuff inside and tied down the trampoline and stuff just to make sure that it's not going to fly off into the neighbor's house. So yeah, so far so good.
Yeah, it's a bit of a day. Like even now, looking from my house over the hills, it's flashing away. I was chatting to my parents up in Wheatbelt, and they're right at the thick of it at the moment. Still, they've been there all day, and they said it's windy, it's rainy.
Yeah.
But it's pretty rare we get a full day start to finish, because I did a daycare drop off at 8 this morning, a little bit later than usual, but it was bucketing down with rain. There was lightning, and even as we're speaking now, there's still lightning flashing outside.
Yeah, it's a pretty big front, right? They said I think it was size of New South Wales. It was a good size. Like it stretched all the way up from halfway up the coast, even further north of NWA, and all the way to the bottom. And I think right down south, Bustleton and Margaret River, they really copped it this morning. I was watching the kind of some of the zones turn red and orange at work, and start to see the damage roll through. What we're gonna have to go down and have a look at in the coming weeks. So fun times. Too right. So for all the listeners, weather is a big thing in Perth. If you haven't really heard, as in whenever we seem to have any sort of significant weather, which we don't really have as much as other places, I guess. Thankfully, it's a big thing.
Yeah, and just a last one on this. I don't know. Do you remember the Great Hailstorm of Perth back in 2010?
I do remember. We will rebuild.
That's the reason that they don't take chances. I've actually spoke to someone at BOM through my work, and that is the reason they over forecast and say it's coming every time. And 9 times out of 10 here in Perth, we get a shower, as the Perthians say. The dome activates is the top comment on the weather pages every week.
Right.
But that's the reason, because I remember being 15 when that was, and we were down in Perth for a sports carnival on a bus of about 80 students, and you can imagine how crazy that went when we were sitting in traffic on Great Eastern Highway, and there was golf ball sized hail.
Yeah, geez. I mean, I don't know if you guys can hear it. Can you hear that? The weather's just right through outside my place now, so that's good. Good that you can't hear it. Obviously,
I can't hear it. We're all good.
Soundproofing sort of working, I guess. So
when it moves from your house to mine in about 20 minutes, we'll check this end and see if it works as good here.
Sounds good. All right. Well, before we crack on with today's episode, as we do always, let's get our wrist checks out of the way. What have you got on, mate?
Yeah, so for the gloomy day, I went with the Seiko Speedtimer. So it'd been about a week since I chucked this on again, mainly due to the type of work I was doing last week. It's the one watch I get a bit nervous about scratching, because on a stainless steel, you put a scratch on it, it is noticeable, but not as noticeable as scratching a black PVD case and maybe getting a big white line or a gouge out of it, or a series of lines. So this is the one I'm actually quite careful with. So when I've got a week of work that I don't have to do too much, to do with any tools, I'm happy to chuck it on.
Yeah.
But, I kind of forget how well it wears. It's a beautiful watch, and when you get the lume, these green indices turn into brighter green indices in the dark. It is a stunning looking chronograph in the dark.
Yeah, no, it looks great, mate. It looks great, and there's It's almost alien-esque. I like it.
Yep. No, it's beautiful watch. But what about yourself? What did you go with today?
I also rocked a Seiko today. I'm rocking my faithful SPB143.
Beautiful
job. Yep. Like I said, my favorite watch in my collection, basically. Yeah, it's a beautiful diver, and I urge all the listeners to go. Even if just go try it, because you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like, when the rain starts in Perth, the Seikos come out. There was quite a few in the Red Bar chat today, popping up, and the divers are all out.
That's it. It's reliable. It's robust. You can wear it everywhere, and it still looks good. So
yeah, I feel like now we've done wrist checks, we've done our weather check. We usually do a sport check at some kind, but I don't think there's been any sport. We had some footy finals. The soccer's over in terms of the World Cup. That we spoke about, but I don't think you or I have any skin in the game in terms of what sport's on at the moment. We've got cricket starting back up, which I think we have in common.
Funnily enough, I'm not really a big cricket fan, to be honest.
I thought you were a cricket fan.
I don't mind watching a bit of like international cricket here and there, but like test matches and stuff, but doesn't really excite me too much. I'm more of a basketball as my sort of secondary sport.
I got nothing to do with basketball.
Which the FIBA World Championships just finished up, actually. So anyway, that was interesting. Germany won. Germany beat Serbia in the finals.
Okay.
481. That cares. I think we have some German listeners, so hey.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I was about to say that. No, it's amazing for Germany, but it's basketball goes as far as a jersey to the gym in the summer for me, and that's about it. And I wouldn't even be able to tell you who's on the jersey or what position they play. I just know it's red and black.
It's a Jordan jersey, is it?
No, it's not Jordan. I know Michael Jordan. I know he's obviously he's the one, but I couldn't tell you who's on it.
Couldn't tell me. Okay, all right. Cool. Well. Maybe I'll convert you one day.
I'm open to it.
Cool. Well, look, let's crack on with today's episode. Today's episode is a bit different to all of our episodes so far. So we've sort of been teasing this for a while, and really, it's been a long time coming. So this is our very first Q&A episode. So thank you everyone for putting in your questions to us. We really appreciate it. We will try and get through some of them today as much as we can in a length of an episode. If we miss your questions, please don't be offended. We will try to do one of these again in a not too distant future. So I guess without further ado, let's get on with the first question.
All right. So our first question comes from Eddie at Eddie Day Carry on Instagram. Great guy for a chat. First up, and great collection too. A lot of different watches, big collector, also from Perth. So love the local support. But his first question was, how do you go about budgeting watches, and given we both have family commitments and whatnot, and managing this hobby with our significant other, which we're going deep real quick. We're going with the hard-hitting ones.
We are going with the hard-hitting questions. All right. Well, Eddie, thank you for the question. I did say when we received this question, Eddie, that it was a controversial one.
Yep.
But let's tackle it. Why don't you kick us off, Justin?
Yes, I guess first of all, I want to say this has changed for me over time as well. I haven't really been this way the entire way I've been in the hobby, but I did get into this hobby before having kids, and getting a second mortgage, and a lot's changed in terms of inflation and interest rates since 2016 or 2015, whenever I bought my first proper watch, I guess.
Sure.
But these days, I guess the way I tackle budgeting is it's a bit blasé, but it's hard to explain. I spent a lot of time looking at this question and wondering how to explain it. I never really got a direct answer. But if I want something, I buy it. That's how I run it. If I've got to have certain feelings towards it, and that's come from things I've explained in the past, of having a large collection of stuff that I didn't wear, and now understanding my wants and needs out of the hobby and an individual watch itself really helps me make a purchase based on I want that watch. Like I know it's not going to be a mistake. I know it's not going to be something I look at and kind of go, oh, shouldn't have bought that one. I'll take a loss on it and sell it on. Sure. 9 times out of 10 these days, I buy it, I grab it. If it's something that's under 200, like a square G or something that can be moved on marketplace for $100, I don't stress about it. They're not giant financial decisions. But in terms of buying more expensive stuff, and it's hard. It's hard because what do we do? Where everyone's got that different price point where it becomes that next jump. Let's say for the Tudor example, I saved up for that watch and I didn't want to buy it for no reason. So it came on the back of a promotion at work. Yep. And it's just, I guess, I save up. I have like an account in my many accounts in my internet banking. And I just chuck some money in there every week. And there's been times where in the past, like Zillow releases, there's been something that's really drawn my eye. But if I don't have the funds in that account for that at the time, or if I'm saving up for something bigger, and that's got my more interest, I kind of just pull it out of there and then, keep going for something bigger, adding on over time. Sure. But it's just kind of an account thing. And if I start not gelling with a watch in my collection, I move it on and those funds go straight into that account. And if something really does grab me, then I don't have a problem with, dipping into savings and taking money out for it if I need to. But touch wood, 9 times out of 10, I don't have a great amount of FOMO. It's the same 3-hand dive watch I'm looking at from Zillow does the exact same function as the turtle that I can get on Starbuy at any time of the month. And I think, that's kind of it. It's such a hard question to word, and I'm not a wordsmith by any means, but
I think you've answered that quite well. Yeah. But I think in many ways I'm similar in a way to you in the fact that I have a separate account where I call it the watch fund.
Yep.
Where I will, if I, I'll put in a certain percentage of, say, if I've, a tax return or something, I might take a small percentage of that and put it in there. And then say if I get a bonus, maybe I'll get a small percentage of that and put it in there. And that's how I really let it grow. Other than that, I don't really touch it. It's more of it's in a high interest savings account and it sort of goes up. And really it's not a lot of money in there at all. Like it's like I said, it's very much in the space I dabble with, which is affordable watches. But if I sell something, like say I sell a watch, I'll put the money in there. And if I buy a watch, I'd use that same account to do that. And as Eddie's pointed out, we both have like family commitments, and so do I. And there's many other things that I prioritize in my life
100%.
Over watches in terms of, I guess, money. Like if I need money for things in day-to-day stuff and living, like I'd rather that's what my money is going to go towards. Watches, as much as I love them, as much as a passion, and it's really taken over my hobby and it's taken over my life. And I'm very I have control in the sense that I will only spend what's in my account. In saying that, I have seen, like, for example, my Oris, when I've got that, that's more than really the space that we generally talk about in the affordable microbrand space. But an opportunity came up. It was a good price, and it was something that I had been looking at for a while. It was more than what I had saved, but I thought, okay, you know what, I'm going to do it this time around. So, but that's a very sort of calculated, okay, it's a case by case sort of thing. But other than that, it's just from there.
Yeah, so pretty similar to how I kind of run it here too. And I guess one thing that I've learned over the past year is when you disconnect from the FOMO and needing that, trying to scratch that itch all the time, because let's be real, you get a new watch in tomorrow, in 2 weeks time you've got an itch for something else. Like it never stops. That's the problem. But when you're chucking, I don't know, $20 to $50 into an account and not looking at it over the span of 12 months, it adds up, and you get a good amount to play with. But I guess traditionally the way I've done it, I keep my spend the watch fund account, which is an interesting thing to explain to your your bank manager when you're doing a refinance. Like, what is this account?
Yeah.
But yeah, I try and hover around the 4.5 to 5K, because if something like from Tudor or Oris comes out that I really want, like that's the kind of level that I want to be able to go and spend money without worrying about it. And like when I was having my internal battles about the date just that I went and tried on the Wimbledon, like that was going to be a chunk of money out of savings that I was at the time. I was okay with the amount, like that. The amount wasn't worrying me. It was more, the fact it was over retail. But times are changing in my life as well with kids, and they're growing up, and we need more space to go kick the football and stuff. So that whole purchase, as much as I was keen on getting my first Rolex as that milestone piece, has now rolled into looking at another house. Purchasing some land and building the next 10 to 15 year house for the family. So again, priorities are a thing. And like you said, if it came down to wearing a $3,000 Oris on the wrist, or having that $3,000 spare to replace a water heater that blows up, I'd much rather worry about the water heater than, again, another 3-hand dive watch that costs a little bit more than the other ones.
100%. As yes, that's so. Yeah, I think that answers the question. Hopefully, Eddie. Like I said, we started off with a big one, so let's move on to something which is a little bit less heavy, I guess. This is also from Eddie. Thank you, Eddie. Had some great questions. Good. Next one is: do you guys actively measure the accuracy of your watches, or your mechanical watches, using apps like Watch Check, etc.? Well, no is the answer. I don't actively check it. I have used certain apps like that before. There's one called Watch Accuracy Meter, and that I've got. And mainly it was just it was like it's a cool thing that I could check. It was another thing in our hobby that we could do, if you know what I mean. Like it didn't, and it just felt like
another depth to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just another depth to it. And it was interesting though. It was interesting to see the beat rate, the range, and plus minuses and stuff like that, and comparing it to what it should be out of the box. And I actually surprised myself, and the couple that I did test, they were actually more accurate than what it said the movement stated accuracy was. But in saying that, you're using this app on a phone that sort of listens in or something. I don't really know how it does it, to be honest. How accurate is it? How accurate is the app itself? Who knows?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's me. Justin, I'm looking at you, and it doesn't look like.
Yeah, I've never done this. Like, being very honest, like, I purchased a watch, and what I care about is how does it look? How does it match what I wear? What is the story behind it? Is becoming more and more of my purchase experience. Like I like, like especially getting through the podcast now, getting to know brands and people has definitely connected me to stories and history a bit better, even though it's brief history. It's just beginning to be what I care about. But what you said there about focusing on it at a different depth in the hobby brings me to a point where it's just like I feel like I'd stress about it. Like I feel it's like a minute detail that would then like worry me. Like honestly, I'd say I would swap every movement in all my watches, like including the Tudor, straight out for a quartz movement if I could. I don't want to worry about it. I just want it to work, and I want to be able to swap a battery and let it work. Like it just, I don't care about it being
controversial.
Like, I don't care about it. If it's out 5 minutes a day, it is what it is. I'm going to reset it tomorrow. We're going to run with it. But just give me quartz and we'll go forward.
Nice. I like it. I mean, look, quartz is the most accurate of them all. So, nothing like. Hey, that's a good.
You can't say that.
sorry, but it is. So
yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, that
doesn't interest me. I don't know why. Like I'm a very techie person. I'm very hands on with things, and like to know how. That's been my job for the last 10 years, is knowing how things work and fault finding and getting. It just doesn't interest me.
Yeah. Fair enough. That's good. Good way of looking at it. Okay. All right. Well, let's get on to the next question then. Hey.
Yeah. All right. So, Mumbai specials. What are they? How have they come to be? And is there ever a time where it's a good idea or deal? And that question comes from Paul via Instagram.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Mumbai specials. Okay, what are they? I guess what are they is they are basically watches that have been hobbled together with with other watch parts. They're not fakes per se. They're
Frankensteins.
Exactly, the Frankensteins. They do have if it's a Citizen, they generally will probably have a Citizen movement in it, or a Seiko. They probably do have a Seiko movement in it, but it won't be original, as in it'll be hobbled together. It won't be original to that piece. It'll be from some other bits. The dial may be repainted. Most of them, the dial repainted.
They got a pattern or something on them.
Exactly. Something like that. Or they'll have like a bright red watch from the 70s, apparently. Like, well, they never did that or 60, like it just didn't exist. It's all artistic licenses and stuff. And that's where they are. And they're called Mumbai specials because a lot of them come from the subcontinent. They do have a lot of those kind of I guess older style watches have been around in that area because I think I sort of touched on this in the Jody episode. In the 60s or the 70s, Citizen Group manufactured a lot of watches in India, and they actually did it, I think, sort of in conjunction with another watch brand, an Indian watch brand called HMT. So there's a lot of these sort of HMT, Citizens, Seikos, all sort of floating around, and there is a lot of actually watchmaking, not so much watchmaking in terms of brands, but a lot of watchmakers and stuff around. So anyway, these just float around eBay, and you can pick them up
dirt cheap.
Like
dirt cheap, like 40, 50, sometimes less.
Correct. 40, 50, and
they're kind of genius though, because when you look at when you type in, go look at Seiko or Seiko 5 on eBay, and I'm even going to go nearly 10 out of 10 of those Mumbai specials that you find. You know one when you see one. Yes. They do a great job at being exactly what they describe, which is, a vintage feeling, vintage whatever. Like you said, 70s, 80s, whatever era it's from. They absolutely nail it. And you look at it and you don't question it being a thrown together watch because it looks like something Seiko or Citizen would produce. It looks like the era they actually say it's coming from. And they must sell thousands of those things. But I'll tell you what Mumbai specials are. They become the watch. I think Jody said it as well. You buy it, you wear it, and you go, it's kind of lame, and then you throw it in your top drawer. It doesn't even get a slot in the watch box, and you never look at it. You move house in 10 years' time, and you go, this thing exists. Cool.
I think it's a good gateway.
It is 100%. I'm not knocking it.
And for me nowadays, it's very easy for me to spot. Just from looking at the dial, I can look at a dial and I go, that's a real Seiko or that's a Mumbai special Seiko. And I'm not just saying that because the seller is located in India, but, just from looking visually, there's a lot of visual cues. Like, for example, where it says automatic, the script is not the same font. The Seikos may be the same, but this automatic isn't the same. The colors will be out there. They'll be very different. There'll be lots of colors, and you're like, oh, these look sick. That's such a cool looking one. But you're like, yeah, but I don't think they ever produced that before.
Yeah, and you kind of see, like, take it as a lot of greens, a lot of blues. Yes. There's a lot of that in there, and the Mumbai specials have a lot of those colors. But you'll be like, this green is real in your face. It's very very vibrant. It's just not anything they've produced before.
And a lot of them say Japan made the dial, which they never did. Always, never said Japan made. So it's just look, I don't knock it in the sense that if you're buying a fake, then fair enough. But what I don't like is when people mistakenly buy it thinking it's a real watch, and then or people being lied to that it's not a real watch, and I've seen that in sort of Facebook Marketplace and AAWF, actually, funnily enough, where someone was selling a Seiko, and I immediately knew it was not real, but I messaged the bloke and because he said, I'm not really sure on the authenticity of it, and which he is very open about it. And he said, look, I don't really know. I bought this on eBay. I think it's worth about this much, give me an offer or whatever. So I messaged the bloke and I said, hey mate, look, I don't, I know you said you don't really know, you're quite new to watches and blah, blah, but, I'll let you know this is not a real Seiko. This is a, mobile special, so to speak, because of XYZ, like what I just went through. He's, oh, thanks, man. Like, I appreciate that, and blah, blah. And all, I was like, look, all good. Like, I wasn't calling him out publicly or anything like that, but I was just saying, just FYI, this is what it is. So you can, I'm not, because at the end of the day, like, you shouldn't be deceiving other people. You shouldn't be, selling something that you say is real. So anyway, that's my piece on a Mumbai special. Get it if you like, but know what you're getting is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, definitely. Sweet. Now, I think that sums it up. That could probably be a whole episode itself, really going into that.
Sure can.
Anyway, moving on. So another question comes through, which I really like this one. How do you guys store your straps? Now, someone who's got, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head how many straps in the collection, but I have a lot. I store mine in I think it's a $25 container from Bunnings, and it's basically, I'll put a photo on Instagram. Actually, it's got a Barton band sticker on it that I got sent once upon a time, and I think it's maybe got a tell your time sticker on as well. But basically, it stands up. It's like a toolbox that you put all your screws and your wall plugs and that sort of stuff in. And it's got 9 trays, and I've got them separated and labeled into tools, rubber, leather, bracelets, NATOs, and that's where it'll get stashed. There's spring bars in there. It's a neat little box, and it was quite cheap. And there's bigger ones out there. There's one that you can pay $150 for, and it takes up, I think it's about 2.5 meters by a meter tall type thing. So it's robust. Kids aren't interested in it, which is handy because it's very boring and plain. But yeah, just something simple and easy, which solved a problem that I never knew I would have 10 years ago looking forward, which was just a pile of NATO straps and spring bars that I needed somewhere to stash. So
yeah, nice.
I'll upload a picture on the podcast Instagram of mine, and maybe we'll do a pic collage of how you store yours as well.
Sounds like a good idea. Very similar. I have actually multiple storage locations. They're not as big. So I've got 2 sort of bamboo trays that I store. I think one of them stores all my 20 mil straps, and then my other one stores all my odd ones, like the 21s, the 19s, the 18s and stuff. And then I've also got a plastic sort of again, another Bunnings special, like a small plastic container, and that contains like I think 22 mil straps. I don't really separate them by width as opposed to leather, rubber, and all that, like you just said.
That seems like a way better idea.
Yeah, just so I can be like, well, I know this is the width. I can go straight away, bang, that's what it is. So
you made me feel real simple here, because I always go in with, like, if I want to do a change on the morning and like hold the strap up, I'm like, oh, it looks like it's the right size.
Right. Yeah. No, that's just, I guess that's the engineer in me. I guess, trying to sort out things by numbers and stuff. But nah, that's I don't know. That's just how I've always done it, and it's worked so far. But it's just not as organized as I guess, because it's open. I did see a really cool strap book or something, which basically it opens up and you can put in all your straps, and it's got like a rubber I'm talking about, like it's got like a rubber thing, and then so it doesn't actually pop out. It's kind of like a slot where you slot there's slots in, and I think you can store 40 straps in a book.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I think like a Pokemon card storage folio or
like
something.
A sleeve.
It kind of like a sleeve, but not
divided up.
Yeah, again, if I can remember where I saw it, I will put the link in the show notes.
I feel like it's something I just wouldn't keep up on. Like, it's something that I would buy as a good idea and then just kind of like leave the thing on my desk and then just let the straps pile up behind it.
Which is why I kind of like this sort of bamboo container and put plastic in it, because it's open. I can just throw it in there, and then I can
be done with it. Yeah.
So, there you go. That's how we store our straps. Okay. All right. Let's go to next question. This is a good one. Thanks again, Jay. Who's Dang Horology in Instagram, as Justin said before. Actually, I think is this the first one? No, this is the first question.
First one from Jay.
This is the first one from Jay. Sorry, Jay is our biggest supporter. Thanks for that. And look, let's get into your question. So, what is your Grail watch, and is it achievable or non-achievable?
All right. So my grail, I don't think I've ever really discussed this with anyone. Now, I think grails get commonly confused with an exit watch because I came into the hobby kind of thinking the grail was, is this the one that you buy that ticks all the boxes and you move on type thing, which I very quickly found out it wasn't. But anyway, moving forward, the idea of grail for me is it's that one watch that you just, if it came up for sale, if it popped up anywhere and you could, or if you could have it at the drop of a hat, you would grab it at the drop of a hat. And, it's just that standout piece. And I don't really know how to describe it other than that, but my grail is a Zilos. Now, I regret not being into them or knowing of them before my time in the hobby, because there was some really cool stuff if you look in their back catalog of discontinued models on their website. So mine is the Zilos Hammerhead 1,000 meter diver brown meteorite in bronze. It is a chunky boy of a watch. You can get a 20 mil bracelet or a 22 mil bronze bracelet for it as well, which looks really cool. But to me, this watch, first of all, is it obtainable or is it not? I don't believe it is. I think it was, I've never seen one posted on forums. I've never seen a picture of it on anyone's wrist, as much as I've looked back into different forums to do with micro brands, because I can't even tell you when this was released. I don't think it's on the website, but it just, as far as I'm concerned, it exists, but I reckon it was probably limited to around 50 pieces back then. So there's some very lucky people out there. And the price this would fetch nowadays, coming out at 700 USD, would be phenomenal. But yeah, this it's, to me, like the reason this is my grail is because it's a full bronze. I'm a fan of bronze to an extent, but it needs to work with the dial, it needs to work with the bracelet strap, and I feel like this watch ticks every box it needs to in terms of a bronze. And that brown dial, the contrast, the chapter ring, the handset. This is the old Hammerhead handset where it's got the lines in it. I love everything about it. I think it would patina amazingly with that brown meteorite dial in there. And it's been my chase back well before the podcast started. I think well before you and I had met as well. I used to post in the Zilos Timekeepers group and ask, once a month type thing. Hey, has anyone seen this? Or once every 3 months, does anyone have this? Would anyone be willing to move this on? And I would never get a response from a single person about even owning one. So I wish it was obtainable. It was very obtainable back in the day when you could buy it for 700 USD. I'd be more than happy to pay that price. And this is probably one of the watches where if, I don't know, it came up for, I reckon I'd be more than willing to part with $2,000 to $2,500 for this watch, only because I know it would be the stay in the collection. It'd be the keeper by far, because the Hammerhead was my first experience with Zilos as well, and it was the watch I fell in love with, and it was my introduction to micro brands. And this kind of is the epitome of what I like about micros and where it started and where it is now. And I've stopped looking at the pictures. I haven't looked at the picture of this watch in probably a year, because it makes me sad that I literally, it would take a miracle for me to be able to own this watch, like a literal miracle, because I just don't believe there's anyone on forums or Facebook that is aware of this watch or that they own one.
Well, listeners, if you know someone that owns this one and wants to make $2,000 from Justin, hit him up. But I'm looking at it right now. I managed to find it on the website while we were talking, and I can completely see why this is your grail. This is you, isn't it? This is very much you.
It's in my vein. Yeah, this is everything I want out of a watch.
Very much you. Bronze and I guess more exotic materials has never really been my thing, but I can really appreciate it especially with this watch with the meteorite dial and everything else. So awesome. I can really respect that. That's an awesome looking thing. Cool. And I just want to probe your grail, or not so much your pick, but I guess your grail as it is. So this is, I guess, achievable, in a sense that in terms of monetary wise, it's achievable. In terms of actually obtaining it, oh god, it's possibly unachievable. Who knows? One day you might be able to get it, but it's almost very, very, very hard to attain. It's not a money thing. It's a scarcity thing. You can't really get it.
Yeah, like they're obviously out there. 50 of them sold. It's these released well, they'd be well out of warranty by now. Sure. How many of them maybe, they've got NH35s in them, I believe.
Yep.
NH35s. How many of those seized up and stopped working? How many of these got used for diving as well? But just how active the Zelos Timekeepers group is. You see a lot of cool old stuff pop up on there, and you see every now and then you see someone really achieve their grail purchase in that group as well. That comes up with one of these once in a 5 or 10 year kind of thing, and it's just hasn't come up for me yet. But yeah, like Praka said, if anyone does own one, I'm serious about purchasing one.
Cool,
sweet. All right, over to yourself. I'm interested. Because for the listeners too, we've never discussed this ourselves. Like Grail watches, it's been a very personal thing for me. Like obviously from my story, you can't get it. I'm not interested in talking about it with anyone these days because you can't get it. So, what's yours, Praka?
Okay, so again, Grail is one of those things where I don't really think about too much. I have them in my mind, what they are, but I don't really thought of I never really went into the hobby thinking I want to get into, like that exit watch or whatever you want to call it. So I have sort of 3 tiers. So maybe it defeats the whole purpose of Grail, but I'll start off with my affordable Grail. So this affordable Grail is very much in the vein as what you've got, which is, so this is the Seiko SKX A35. Which is a variant of the SKX 173, also a variant of the SKX 007. So it's basically a yellow SKX. That's what it is. It's a yellow dial SKX, which I'm particularly about it's called the Singapore dial. This is quite this is a Grail to me because so I'm originally from Singapore, so it makes it's a connection there as well. And I love Seikos, and it's an affordable Grail to me. Like I just think it's a great piece, and it's very hard to come around as well. There's not much out there.
Yeah.
You don't really see. There are many ones with Malaysia on the dial, because they were made in both Malaysia and Singapore, depending on which year and when. It's one of those ones where I don't really seek it out like every week or anything like that. I did for a little while, but then I was like, nah, I'm not really, I don't really, it'll come when it comes, sort of thing. So
so cool. No, that's I wouldn't expect that. I forget you had the RZE with the yellow dial, because I was gonna say yellow. That's
yes. Yellow is not really a color that I don't really go for as much as well, but I just think it works really well. It's like it's a sunny sort of, just reminds of, and like I'll probably pick up another yellow dial watch soon, but I'll maybe hold out for this one. So that's
cool.
That's my sort of, I guess, similar to what in the space that you're looking at. But in terms of I guess like a Grail, which I find that I'm probably not going to purchase this. 1, because of the monetary value, and 2, just purely because of how long it actually takes, I think, for anyone to get one in the first place. So this brand, it's a independent watchmaker in Japan. It's a Kikuchi Nakagawa is the brand name. And the watch I'm looking at particularly is called the Ichimonji. So again, I apologize to I think we have some listeners in Japan. I don't know. I have to check that.
No, we do.
Great. So I apologize to our Japanese listeners if I butchered that name completely. But so basically Kikuchi Nakagawa, they make beautiful dress watches. And when I say dress watches, they only have 2 models. That's all they make. So they make the Murakamo and the Ichimonji. So basically it's all very much like 1930s, 1950s, that kind of era watches. They're really inspired by Patek Philippe and Breguet and that kind of styles. And they take the, I guess, the design cues from there, and they make it their own. And they're really, how do you say it? It's very horology, very artisanal stuff. You got 2 guys who are, I think it's Yasuke Kikuchi and Tomonari Nakagawa. So they're both so Kikuchi, he was an architect, and then he became a so I think he worked in a watchmaking school he graduated in a watchmaking school in Paris, and then he came back to Japan. He was making mechanical watches in Japan. And then the Nakagawa, who's the other watchmaker, he's originally a swordsmith, a blacksmith.
That's so cool.
And then he turned into watchmaking.
That's awesome. What a history.
He used to work for Citizen, and now he makes his own stuff, his own company. And they met in Paris. They found this love for watchmaking together, and then they've got this brand, and it's just everything that I like about, like, I love Japanese watches. I don't try and hide that fact in this thing, but I like the fact that they have the history and I guess the more finer sort of watchmaking skills from Europe as well, and infuse that with the for me, when I look at Japanese horology, they I guess more the precision and the more of the but so it's like a beautiful mix of both.
It's a huge combination of 100 years of watchmaking and beyond.
Exactly.
Coming into to a new age kind of watch, because this very cool. Very cool looking watch. I'd never heard of this before. I'd just seen the price at the bottom of the website. I was like, oh gosh.
So yes, 22 grand US, and delivery time. So, anywhere between 132 months to 144 months. What's that? Yeah, a long time.
Yeah, it's I can't even tell you off the top of my head how many years 132 months is.
So 144 is 12 years. So,
oh man,
so between 11 to 12 years, if I ordered one right now. So this, when I say, the grail, this is
that's a lottery watch. If you won the lottery and you could forget about 22 grand leaving your account, and it turns up when you're 50 odd years old, then you take it.
Exactly. So
great pick though. That's awesome. That's amazing.
Thank you.
For listeners, go look at that website too, because it's a phenomenal looking watch.
Yeah, we'll chuck this in the show notes along with with any of the other cool things we'll talk about today. All right, let's get on. Let's get on with the next one. What have we got?
Perfect. So we've got another one from Jay. Dang Horology. What's a criminally underrated watch and brand? So I struggle with this one. I really racked my brain on this one, from affordable to high end, and I didn't really land on anything specific, but I'm interested in your opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Well, again, I think it's a hard one for us to answer, I think, because we dabble in the micro brand and sort of affordable space more often than not, and majority of the times. And a lot of the watches that we sort of, I guess, look at are sometimes underrated as it is by the general public. So that's just the first point. But if we're looking at sort of, for me, when I think of underrated watches, let's say Japanese sort of mainstream brands, the thing that comes to my mind is Citizen. And I'm not talking underrated in terms of their divers and stuff. I feel like, the divers get the kudos. It's not an issue. But Citizen's got some really cool mechanical watches, like automatic watches, like basically like Presages and stuff that Seiko release, or stuff that Orient has, or stuff like that. I feel like people know Seiko, know Orient, and they respect it, and they respect it. Even Casio, G-Shock and everything else, but Citizen almost feels like the forgotten one to me.
Yeah, Citizen, going back a few years, feels like what Alba is to Seiko now, in my opinion. Like, it's that watch that's kind of sits at the bottom of the window at the jeweler. But I think like we're right now in the beginning of Citizen going really quickly upwards and going to be seriously competing with Seiko, but not just on their dive watch standards. I think Citizen is a huge player in the game nowadays.
For sure. I mean, look, Citizen has such a big history. It was started in 1918. Like it's it's madness how many it's been over 100 years, and they do so much for the watch world. When we talk about just movements in itself, Miyota movements, which is like the probably arguably like after the NH movements, it'll be the most amount of movements used,
staple of the micro brand, that's for sure.
And that's Citizen. So anyway, I think they're underrated. I don't think they're under, like, they're not like a hidden gem, but they are underrated. So that would be my answer.
I think so. I tossed about with Citizen as well, and I think the reason I didn't land on them as my answer is because I feel like we're right at the start of I think they're about to boom. Like, you look at what they're doing with I can't pronounce that model. It's the one that starts with TS.
Suya?
Yeah, you look at what they're doing there, what they're doing with they're starting to go to the back catalog and go for smaller divers. They're doing integrated, they're doing colors. I think they're really going to shoot up and kind of explode now. But my answer to this one is a bit of a weird one. So I landed on Oris. And now that's, again, similar to yourself. Like, there's a lot of love for Oris out there. But I feel like Oris, over the past few years, has been caught up in that price point argument where you kind of starting to lean into Tudor price range. And I'll just use Tudor as a reference, really, because I feel like that's the next, the jump before you go a bit higher. And I feel like they're underrated because you look what they do. They've got... over the past few years, they've gone from having, the SW200. That's the movement they use, right? Is that
the Salida? Yep.
It's the Salida, yeah. So they've had the Salida. Now they've gone and done it in-house. They're still offering both price points. So if you want to spend more money and get that in-house experience, that extra, is it 5-day power reserve? Is that what they've got? 5 days. 5 days. You've got the option, and you can come back and spend a little bit less and just go for your standard SW, which is what I would do personally, because it's a workhorse movement. It's easily serviced. It's serviced by a lot of people, not just Oris in-house itself. But I think they're underrated just because their quality is incredible for a start. Like, I've owned Oris. I've tried on your Oris as well. I had the 41.5 mil cherry dial Aquas, and that was big for me because I went into the jewel at the time to go look at a Tudor. I think that was when the Black Bay 58 Blue was a couple of months after release, and the Oris grabbed me, and I got that was my first big watch experience where I was kind of just like, oh, this thing's a huge contender. Like, they got the brand history. They've got the colors. They're playing with relief style stainless steel bezels. Like, it's not a boring watch. There's so much value for money in terms of wrist presence, history, and then what you get as a wearing experience out of that watch. I just feel like, their catalog's huge now. You look at from the stuff they're doing with their PPX, with the Kermit dial. They've just released their, I guess, competitor to the Deep Sea or the Challenger. That thing, I can't remember off the top of my head what the price was. That was insanely priced with the spec sheet
on that diver. But it was, I know exactly the one you're talking about. And crazy. I definitely not an underexposed brand, but whether it gets his proper kudos, and you're on the money there, and it's cool that they don't sort of just, like you said, when they moved up to the higher end, I guess, with the caliber 400s, they haven't just gone, all right, catch you guys later, so later, guys, don't worry about it, we're not gonna. They're like, no, we'll still offer that, and we'll offer this as well, because it's cool, because not everyone wants to pay $5,000 for a Diver 65.
Exactly. And as well as that, like, Oris is out there at the events, they quite regularly over in the States. I think even here we had some Oris stuff given away at a Red Bar event as well. They're out there, they're in the community, they don't mind coming on and doing YouTubes or podcasts. They're out there with their people, and they're doing cool things like the upcycle. There's contributing back to the industry and trying to look after the earth and conservation. There's a lot bigger picture. I think that stuff does go. The upcycle is an awesome dial, but I think when you really step back and go, saving the ocean to an extent, or it's their attempt at contributing towards saving the ocean. It's a bigger picture thing, and I think that sort of stuff. It's not just the watch itself, but the brand is underappreciated. Not underappreciated, gets its love, but just kind
underrated. Underrated.
Yeah, underrated.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I just want to touch on what you just said just then about the whole environmental aspect thing of it. It's very easy to get caught up in that. For example, with Blancpain and Swatch release, when we talked about, this ocean, showing all the pretty images of this oceans, and we've named it after all these oceans, and we use recycled plastic on or whatever it was on the strap, and it's like, oh great. But Oris went further than that, right? They've used it not only on the dials, they've deployed all these sort of plastic catches and things, and they've collaborated with companies that are doing all this great things. I think in Sydney, they installed one of those in the harbour, Sydney, where they're like, look, we can do something, we can help, we will help, and I think that's a cool thing to give them props for sure.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's definitely much appreciated to a lot of the people, especially dive watchers, ocean. That's what we're there for.
For sure. All right, cool. Well,
perfect.
Let's get on with our last question of the night. Okay, spoke about Grail watches, but this is an awesome question. So this is sent in by Anonymous. If you could get your Grail watch right now, but the catch is you have to give up your favorite watch in your collection and never get it back again, would you do it?
So yeah, first of all, Anonymous, you know who you are. I've now got personal beef with you for making me so conflicted and fight with my brain and make me feel like a bad person, because my favorite watch is a hand down. It's an heirloom kind of thing in my family. And yeah, my favorite watch is my little Omega. That was my grandfather's watch. It was a birth year watch for me as well. It was his 25th wedding anniversary present from my grandmother, and both are still here, with us these days. And my my grandfather gave it to me when he was not too well, and he didn't think he was going to make it through. What the elderly can be like. But he gave it to me then and kind of wanted to see me wear it, and I love that watch to pieces. Now, the answer for this to me is no. And the reason I kind of said I was conflicted, because I was like, I've asked my granddad this before, because, when he gave it to me, he was just kind of like, here you go. And I was just, at the time, I was like, to my granddad, and, we called him Granddad Roy. He listens to this as well. So if you are listening this week, again, thank you for that watch, and for the support. I told him, I was like, I'm not going to wear this, because I was in my big watch era. I said, it's tiny. It's 36 mil. It's not in my interest right now. I'm sorry, but I didn't say I didn't want it, but I said it's going to go into the watch box and probably stay for a little while. And he did say to me at the time, he's like, well, if it can contribute to something else that you're going to wear more, go ahead and move it on. And I said, no, I can't do that. I wouldn't be able to live with myself, especially, once if he passed away at the time, or passes away, I couldn't, I'd feel terrible about that. And now that I do wear it more, it'll go to my son one day, or my grandkids one day, if that's the way my life pans out. But yeah, my answer is just no. Like, nothing can replace the sentimental value in that watch, and that connection to my grandparents' wedding, and my granddad himself as a collector, and then the whole experience when he gave it to me. We went out for breakfast. We had a good day one-on-one, which we hadn't done since probably I was in high school. We went out and chilled together one-on-one without my grandmother and without my partner, that type of stuff, and without the kids. So
it's awesome.
Not a chance. As much as that brown dial eludes me, not a chance it could replace the favorite. What about yourself?
Yep. Similar. So my favorite watch in my collection is my SPB143, the one I'm wearing right now. I think we spoke about this before and why it's so significant to me. It's my watch that I got given to by my wife, my best friend, and my family for my 30th birthday, and it just means a lot to me. It's more than just a watch. It's so I didn't get into this game, I guess the watch game, or what do you want to call it, because I knew someone, or I had a family member who got me into it, like yourself. It was very much self-inflicted. So I guess I don't really have that sort of connection in there. My dad has some, he's got some watches now, but he was never a thing. And would I trade this in? Is no, I would most certainly would not. I mean, I spoke about what my Grail watch was, and 12 years waiting time and all this kind of stuff, whatever you want to call it. No, I still wouldn't. The sentimental value of this is worth way more than the monetary value or the rarity or whatever, or anything.
For sure.
Anything can, to that. So
you can make more money. We're both young enough. We've got long careers ahead. You can't replace memories and sense of it, man. It's and that's kind of like I explained to my son. My son's 4 and he likes to wear his Spider-Man watch or his little BW G-Shock knockoffs, I guess. But when because every now and then I'll get the watch box out in the morning and the kids will kind of pick out what I should wear for the day. And when I hear them say Grandad Roy's watch, that's kind of what I used to say. Back when I was younger, that's the watch I remember my granddad wearing, and that's kind of the watch I want to be associated with my kids. So you can't replace that stuff. And it doesn't. Yeah, money isn't not. We hear it all the time. Money's not everything, but it's really not.
That's it. I mean, it's easy. I mean, not easy, but. Obviously we come from a place of we are very privileged that we can do this, that we can actually collect watches and and be a part of this hobby in itself. I think it's a huge privilege. Not many people in this world can do that. You're bang on right when we say money isn't everything. We're not sort of talking about it in terms of we have a ton of money. But we're talking at it in terms of, it doesn't matter how much you get in return, the sentimental value of this you can't replace.
It's irreplaceable.
Cool. Well, awesome way to, I guess, end the Q&A. Let's go on to our usual section of the podcast, which is something interesting. But this time around, a little bit different. Our something interesting section is a question itself. Because it is a Q&A episode. But the question is not really anything about watches. It's about other stuff. So what is it?
We're going to talk about our own hobbies other than watch collecting. So I can't remember who this one came in from. Was this from Jay as well?
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So what other hobbies do we have?
No, it's actually Eddie. It was Eddie.
Oh, Eddie, okay.
Yep.
So what other hobbies and do we collect other things? So I'll be happy to kick this one off because I've got a couple of things. I really like to be a busy person. I don't know, try and be proactive because in the start of my adult life, I was not a proactive person. I guess a lot of partying back in the day and a lot of sleeping in bed and, then some life experience and maybe kind of wake up and you realize again, we're going back to, talking about money, but time is also very valuable. So I like to, get up at the crack of dawn every day and maximize daylight and whatnot. So I guess my biggest hobby is working out, and it sounds like a bit of a weird hobby to have because it's a lot of pain. It's for the listeners, my journey's been interesting. I used to be quite a big boy back in the day. After high school, I got on the beers and I ate a kebab every second night. And, when I started making some money after apprenticeships, you start, ordering food instead of cooking food. And it just snowballed into being, overweight and unhealthy. And, I don't mind sharing as well. Like I had a bit of a health scare as well with the big C a few years ago and kind of decided to get my life into gear. And now 3 years into that journey. So, when my daughter was born, I guess actually when my son was born, so 5 years ago, I tried my ass off to, sorry for swearing, my ass off to lose the weight and crack the habits and whatnot, and I couldn't do it. I wasn't headstrong, I wasn't there for it, and it spiraled the opposite way. So I ended up hating working out and hating fitness, and it just end up being in a worse place than I was, not just with my appearance and my weight at the time, but then again in my head, I was, kind of beating myself up about it. And then when my daughter was born, I actually said, this is now it. And I literally went from the day she was born, the day she came home, I went and threw out everything in my cupboard that I said, no, this is not part of the diet anymore. signed up to the gym, and I think ever since then I've gone 6 days a week, if not 7, to go and spend half an hour on the Stairmaster every single week for 3 years, and I do it as religiously as I can. And it's led into amazing things in my life, like cycling and now long distance running. And I dropped all the way from 150 kilos down to 80 kilos. So,
wow.
A huge amount of weight was lost at the original time. And then once I got down to that kind of weight, I had no goal. I was just working towards it. Now I'm in a building phase. So I've chunked up again slightly. I'm just sitting around 100, and I'm in this phase of now relentlessly cutting and then relentlessly bulking again. And you start to feel real proud when you see some shoulder definition, you see your chest come through. And that's my, apart from my kids and what they do, that's my biggest personal hobby. I love it. I love feeling sore. I love feeling ruined. My favorite thing to do is squat heavy weights. So, my 1 rep max is up near the 200 kilos these days. And I love that feeling. I love seeing my quads all vascular and popping. And it's a weird thing, but I absolutely love it. Now that I'm getting into long distance running, averaging 10 to 15 Ks a run, getting ready for a possible 30 to 40. It's a weird hobby to have because it's very draining. It's very time consuming. It's very demanding, but I enjoy it more than watch collecting, to be honest with you, everyone. It is my favorite part of life, apart from my kids being healthy.
That's awesome, man. That's like, I'm going to go ahead and say you didn't really answer that properly, because that's not really a hobby, man. That's like your lifestyle,
Oh,
I'm just joking, but seriously, props to you. It's such an incredible thing and to do for yourself, but also for your family. So well done for that.
Yeah, cheers, man. And it's, for anyone who's going through that process currently or thinking about it, it does better your life in more ways than just the physical fitness, especially with kids. My son does Auskick, which is, I'm not sure what the equivalent of Auskick is for little soccer or little whatever it is overseas.
Grasshoppers, actually.
Grasshoppers, okay.
Yeah, grasshopper soccer or something, I think it's called. Yeah.
All right,
Grassroots,
Yeah, but not only that, sleeping, focus, work life, everything kind of changed after that. So if anyone, even wants to have a chat with that, I'm fairly knowledgeable in that space these days, and currently sitting above 100 kilos and looking at going back down. So
nice one. The bulk of the cut. The bulk of the cut.
That's it. What about yourself, Praka?
All right. Well, I guess I'll I'll answer this in a bit of a 2-part sort of answer. Because the question was, what hobbies do you guys have, and also do you collect things? So I'll start with the do you collect things part. So watch collecting wasn't my first foray into collecting. Didn't really start off as a collection, but I used to collect all sorts of things growing up. I collected Pokemon cards. I collected Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I collected, Hot Wheels cars. I collected. I collected so there used to be these like flags, erasers. I don't know if you've erasers, like pencils. Pencil erasers, but they have flags on them, like flags of different countries. I used to have a bag of maybe like 100 or something ridiculous flags erasers. That was like my thing. Yeah, I collected that. I collected, oh God, who knows? I collected little Pokemon, toys, little Digimon toys. Pretty much anything that you could sort of collect, like growing up. I've done it. I don't know. So I always had that sort of collecting sort of nature, but I didn't collect other things. I mean, a lot of people collected sneakers and stuff like that, but I sort of dabbled, but I didn't really sort of collect. But did it translate into watch collecting? Maybe not, but I do like collecting.
It probably contributed to some way, having that kind of collection thing. I mean, I was the same. Like, I think I did the Pokemon cards when I was quite young. But I've still got boxes full of Dragon Ball Z figurines from over time. That was kind of the thing I was into. And I mean, OG Digimon was probably probably the best show back then, in my opinion. It was a bit of a rivalry, Pokemon and Digimon, but
I did both, man. I did both. Yeah, I did that, Tamagotchi, you name it,
Oh
Beyblades.
yeah, Tamagotchi. That's a good shout.
Yeah, I had Tamagotchis. I had Beyblades.
Beyblade. Oh man.
Like I said, I had pretty much everything, and I really enjoyed
Man,
everything too.
90s collectible podcast coming inbound.
That's it. Maybe we'll do like a crossover episode or something. But that's the collection part of things. But I mean, like hobbies wise, watch collecting is probably, I mean, watches in general, just being enthusiast about everything and anything about watches is a big thing of my life now. But as I do not go to the gym as religiously as you do, I guess, but I do really enjoy going to the gym. I find that, definitely the mental aspect of it, the physical is obviously feel better. You go, you do exercise, you feel better. But also just feeling better mentally as well, but just going and, just a bit of clarity, a bit of, downtime, but and also working your ass off when you're there too. Like it's awesome. It's fun to, like you said, like really lift heavy ass weights. Like it is fun. I'm definitely not one at maxing 200 kilo in the squats like you, but I enjoy my deadlifts, and that's sort of my sort of call to fame. I really do enjoy that. But apart from that, obviously hobbies, like I just love spending time with my family and stuff. It's not really, I guess it's just my lifestyle, I guess, doing things like that. So, but apart from that, I love coffee is another thing that
I was going to say that at the end. Yeah, coffee is a big one in my life.
Coffee,
it gets me through the day. Plus, it's an enjoyable, especially when you're going cafe to cafe. Like it's good to get a bit of a postcard book of cafes in your head.
Exactly. So, like I literally like spend a lot of my time going to different cafes because I work in the city, so it's a bit of a luxury. But also before kids, like me and my wife, we used to just go around different cafes all around Perth and different restaurants all around Perth. Like we used to go like I don't know, for the listeners, like like we would drive an hour and a half from home one way to go and eat food and come back and stuff, maybe an hour and a half, like at least an hour, it would just be all over Perth metro area, just to go eat a meal and come back.
Yeah.
And that was normal for us. I mean, we don't really have the luxury to do that as much as right now, but the cafe thing is still going, and and coffee is one of those things. Again, I started off as a necessity. Like I got introduced to it in uni, like one of my good mates, he introduced me to uni, and I was like, oh, I don't really like coffee. I was that's pretty good, but I was always very safe coffees, but now I'm really like into the different beans and making sure it's like the right, it has to be this beans or that beans, or I like it roasted a certain way. I'm so much so, like I think in for a couple of the presents that I received this year was like coffee beans and craft beers. Like you can sort of see the theme that's happening there. But I really do enjoy my coffee, and I don't see it as like, oh, I need it to get through my day sort of thing. It's like I could have a day without a coffee, no problems, and it's not going to affect me. But I find real enjoyment. Shout out to Howard's Groove in Perth, one of my favorite coffee shops in Perth. If any of my listeners are in Perth, you should go check it out. And if you're going to visit, you should definitely
flick us a message.
That's it. Flick us a message, because I'll be right
I'm
there.
in. No, it's funny you mentioned coffee. I was thinking about this, reflecting with one of my mentors at work who retired recently. So when I was an apprentice, when I was 17, I just kind of clicked that back then he bought me my first coffee, and I was like, since that day 11 years ago, I haven't missed a coffee since that exact moment. It's so funny.
You just got you hooked in.
Now we've got the 2.5 gram Breville machine on the bench top, and the same thing you just said. Certain beans for certain days is definitely a trigger to happiness sometimes.
Nice. What's your go-to coffee when you make one at home?
If I'm making one ready to leave for work or on the run, there is a coffee bean from Coles that I've actually really hit with at the moment, called Jed's.
Okay.
Jed's coffee, just for like a quick one on the run. But if you want to make like a real nice like brew to sit out the back and with the sunrise coming up, whatever you're doing with the kids outside, I'll send it to you, and I'll share it because we have a lot of Perth listeners on the Instagram. Yahava Coffee Works on West One Road. There's some sort of roast there that I go and buy it by the scoop, and it's delicious.
Nice, awesome,
delicious,
awesome. My go-to at home, I don't make what do you call it? Like milky coffee. I only so I make like an AeroPress, so filter coffee.
Yep.
So all the beans that I buy is very light roast. So not dark roast. Dark roast is usually used for your espressos and your milky coffees. So light roast, and Twin Peaks is up there, number one.
Yep.
And then after Twin Peaks, I like Macrology as well, which is so Twin Peaks is in Morley for all the Perth listeners. They're the roasters out there, but then they supply a bunch of people in Perth. And Macrology as one as well. Like I said, Osborne Park, fantastic coffee as well. Good, great beans.
Yep,
good stuff. And a local one not too far is Brew in Wangara, which is quite decent as well. Actually, like I'm sort of I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying to like go different areas and sort of they're quite good. Maybe I should have started with coffee because I can as you can see, I can talk a lot about coffee too.
Maybe that's the next venture, mate. I'm biased with coffee because all my favorite shops are in the Swan Valley, and it's all 2 minutes from home. It's all walking distance.
There is some really good cafes in Swan Valley as well. I just don't venture out as much as I should, but definitely. You know what? Yeah, maybe let's watch this space. Maybe there's some sort of collaboration going on here. We need to make happen. Sort of overtime coffie or something.
Mate, that is something I could get behind.
That's good.
Beautiful.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it for our special Q&A episode. Look, as we said in the start, this is only the first Q&A episode that we're doing. We've actually received a couple, plenty more questions, and we would love to keep receiving more questions. We'll put out a poll or a post or something, Justin.
Yep.
To try
that sounds good.
Get some questions in the near future as well, and we'll do this one again. I think I had a blast. I hope you did too. And
it's been a ball. Yeah, I kind of enjoy the watch related, but also some of the not watch related stuff as well.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And we'll be back to our more regular schedule programming next week. But if there's nothing else, I guess we'll leave it to it.
Too easy, mate. Take care and enjoy your week and enjoy your coffee. Thank you for joining us on OverTime, the podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
You can find us on our Instagrams at OverTime the podcast, at Kinda Average Watches, and at Horology Capture.
We appreciate your support and value your feedback. If you have any questions, suggestions, or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, please hit us up. We would love to hear from you.
Until next time.